Right, this is just me playing a recording from BitChute to which I'm going to give my honest opinion to. So just bear with me. Okay, guys and girls.
People are anxious to know when we're going to relax restrictions, when schools are likely to be fully back and open again. Of course, I want nothing more than to see schools back, get them back to normal.
Wants to see schools get back to normal and kids to go back to school. So why did they use this fake pandemic to close schools down in the first place? This bloke doesn't even look bleeding convincing, reading from a script like a 12th grader that can't read words.
Make sure that children are sat around, learning and experiencing the joy of being at school. But I can't give you a date.
I'm sorry. Anyone that's ever been through the education system, most people would say it was a joy. Other people would say it was absolute rubbish and torture and boring.
Because before we do, we need to meet 5 tests. First, we must protect the NHS's ability to cope and be sure.
Protect the NHS's ability to cope. Should have thought about that when you stripped all its funding over the last 10 years, mate. Then it probably would have been able to cope with anything thrown its way.
That it can continue to provide critical care and specialist treatment right across the whole of the United Kingdom.
So, to provide critical care and treatment across the United Kingdom, try telling that to all the cancer patients that have had their operations cancelled that could potentially have saved their lives. And then classing every single death as COVID-19. No tests, no nothing, no autopsies, but they're just going on a whim that it's COVID-19. Okay.
Second, we need to see daily death rates from coronavirus coming down.
The daily deaths of coronavirus coming down? Stop manipulating and massaging the figures like the Tories have been guilty of for the last 10 years. If we change the meaning of it, it doesn't exist. Oh dear. We'll continue.
Third, we need to have reliable data that shows the rate of infection is decreasing to manageable levels.
Wow. Stop lying about the figures then.
Fourth,
and use correct
we need
data.
to be confident that testing capacity and PPE is being managed with supply able to meet not just today's demand, but future demand.
Well, the problem with this is the NHS aren't allowed to directly bulk buy their own PPE or any of the equipment or drugs or medicines because it's done by a private entity run by the government.
And fifth, and perhaps most crucially, we need to be confident that any changes we do make will not risk a second peak of infections.
Second peak of infections? There was never even a first lot of infection. Tell me how a heart attack patient that died of a heart attack can be written down on its death certificate as COVID-19. It is laughable. Absolutely laughable. These people, ridiculous.
can be sure that we have met these 5 essential points. We can think about getting children into schools again, learning, mastering new ideas, and being with their friends once more. Our first priority.
Being with their friends once more, whilst socially distancing, mind. Learning new skills, don't you mean brainwashing the kids and indoctrinating them into a false narrative of history? A false narrative of germ theory and virology? Anyone that was educated properly knows viruses are the breakdown of RNA and DNA, where the body tries to save the cell that is dying or damaged. So it reutilises what it can save and then discards what it can't save and what's damaged. Hence the exosomes that are secreted through the lungs and the throat that look a lot like COVID proteins, but they're only looking for DNA and RNA. They're not looking for a specific strain of COVID or coronavirus. Coronavirus is basically the common cold and influenza, but we know the Tories like to rebrand things, hence the decline of unemployment, because they rebranded and redefined what the name of employment was. So anyone on a flexible contract, 0-hour contract, is classed as fully employed. But as before, anything below 16 to 18 hours was part-time. Anything above that was full-time. Same with the poverty figures. They redefined what poverty actually was. So they just make things to cover their own crimes up.
Priority has always been protecting the well-being of children and young people, but particularly those vulnerable young people with special educational needs or a social worker.
Wow, really? Protecting vulnerable and kids? How many of the establishment have raped, murdered, abused vulnerable children? Especially the social services. Being an individual from a care home of Forest Lodge on Sherwood Rise that has most recently been knocked down and turned into OAP retirement home. That place was full of it. But historical child abuse and child abuse doesn't exist. And it doesn't damage the child, according to them. Yeah. You want to at least sit and talk to an abused individual that has survived. It messes with your head, your feelings, your emotions, and the way that you interact and treat people and in your relationships.
Schools are open for them, and we're working to make sure those who should attend do so. Young people who have left care or just about to, whether that's from a foster family or residential care, are really vulnerable right now. So I'm asking local authorities to ensure that no one has to leave care during this difficult time.
Not bad to say that the councils just had their duty of care removed or halted to any person or individual or child or OAP that needs care or protection. That's just food for thought.
The £1.6 billion of additional funding announced yesterday will help local authorities give care leavers and other vulnerable groups the support that they need at this difficult time.
When I left care, all they gave me was £500. That was it. Not heard anything from them since. I'm now 41. But if they hadn't have cut all the services, all the finances to these services, would we be in this mess? There's another question for people to ponder on.
To further protect children from harm, we're continuing to support Childline and working with the NSPCC to expand and promote the adult helpline by providing them with an extra £1.6 million.
This is laughable.
This means children have someone to call, and more adults will be able to raise concerns and seek advice about the safety and well-being of any child that they're worried about.
The last person I'm
Some
going to
of our
phone is
leading
social
state
services if I'm worried
schools
about
have
the safety of a
collaborated
child.
to open the Oak National Academy, which will be launched online tomorrow. This is a totally new initiative led by 40 brilliant teachers who have assembled video lessons and resources for any teacher in the country to make use of if they wish to do so.
So why wasn't this implemented on the shutdown of schools? This could have minimised any disruption to any child's right to an education.
180 video lessons will be provided each week across a broad range of subjects for every year group from reception through to year 10. Learning, mastering new ideas and being with their friends once more. Our first priority.
If you want to master new skills and new ideas, join the Cubs, the Scouts, the TA, or learn how to filter and process your own water. Learn how to cultivate your lands and grow your own food and raise your own livestock. Learn husbandry, which is the raising of animals. Learn survival techniques. These things they do not show you at school. Learn to cook from fresh. Learn to use herbs. Also, learn to identify edible wild flowers, plants, roots, trees, and to identify what's poisonous and what is not. These are life's most valuable skills. This is probably why that our OOPs are being left to die in care homes, alone, without family. This, in my mind, is social cleansing and genocide of the real holders of history, rather than these fake narratives we're forced down our throat in the education system. Indoctrination system.
Priority has always been protecting the well-being of children and young people. Schools are open for them, and we're working to make sure those who should attend do so. This means children have someone to call, and more adults will be able to raise concerns and seek advice about the safety and well-being of any child that they're worried about. Some of our leading state schools have collaborated to open the Oak National Academy. People are anxious to know.
Yes, definitely, Mark. We are being double-crossed. Signs and symbols will be their downfall. Obviously, this is my first ever video, ever, and I'm not allowed to live stream on Facebook due to a post I put up that someone else had posted, because I thought it was actually quite funny and highlighted the hypocrisy of history repeating itself, like fashion trends and TikTok trends. How stupid are we, where we have to follow idiots on TikTok pushing glasses around a table and taking sips, and then getting glassed in the face because we spit the fluid in someone's face that we're sat next to. Yes, this is the stupidity of a lot of human beings, or Homo sapiens. I'm going to end this here anyway. Thank you.